The Land Use Balance Sheet is a strategic spatial planning tool that accounts for how a country, region or city allocates its total surface area among competing uses such as agriculture, urbanization, forestry, infrastructure and protected natural habitats. It matches available land resources against future socio-economic and environmental demands. Amanda Ngabirano is a former chairperson of the National Physical Planning Board, and during her tenure, she prepared the Land Use Balance Sheet in Uganda.
Hello viewer, my name is Amanda Ngabirano. I'm the former chairperson of the National Physical Planning Board. I'm also a lecturer at Makerere University, a lecturer of urban and regional planning. I'm also the chairperson of the Greater Kampala Urban Mobility Consultative Forum, a forum which is aiming at bringing together the taxi industry, the borders, in terms of their leadership and harmonizing their work together with government.
Physical planning is the process of organizing and designing land use, human settlements, and public infrastructure. It aims to create functional, safe, and sustainable communities by deciding where to place housing, businesses, roads, and utilities to maximize efficiency and protect the environment.
NPPB, the National Physical Planning Board, which was the highest body responsible for physical planning in Uganda under the Act of 2020, which was under RAPEX, merged with NPA. So all the functions of the National Physical Planning Board were transferred to NPA. So there is still a process that is going on in Cabinet to harmonize the functions that were transferred. But while the board was in place under our term of 4 years, we were able to achieve a lot in terms of physical planning in the country. Although we are still under 20%, physical planning in Uganda is still under 20%. That shows there's still a lot of work to do. But the board made a very big progress in terms of supporting different local governments. The cities, for example, the 3 cities, Arua, Gulu, and Jinja, they got their PDPs, physical development plans, during our term. The National Physical Development Plan for the whole country was also actually approved during our time. And this is our first physical development plan in the country, and it's a very important document that should take us through 2040. So it is linked to the Vision 2040, and it's a very important document because it's about our land use planning. It's about the national priorities for development in terms of managing our land efficiently. And it's something that we need to follow up through for its implementation in a phased manner. We also were able to create a task force under the board because the way physical planning is, or land use planning, it cuts across different sectors. It cuts across water and environment, forests, water bodies, lakes, rivers. It cuts across the functions like industrialization, commercialization, road connectivity, etc. So that requires a multi-sectoral approach. So we put up a task force comprising of Ministry of Works and Transport, Lands, NPA, UBOS, Ministry of Energy. As when we were discussing the issue of fuel stations, for example, we needed Ministry of Energy on board, UBOS, UNBS. So that task force, so the board actually achieved quite a lot in 4 years. Probably we did too much at the same time and maybe shocked the public and the other entities that collaborate with the land use planning activities. Physical planning is everything. In fact, it's the only way that we can attain sustainable and orderly growth. It's the only way we can maximize our land. It's the only way we shall have harmony and coexistence of the different functions that support development, but also mankind, the well-being, the welfare of the human beings. So physical planning is the only way out. For example, if you have human settlements that are not planned, that means that they are not adequate for habitat. They are not adequate. They are insufficient in terms of safety, accessibility, maybe there's overcrowding, you cannot even service those settlements in terms of utilities. So you get chaos in the human settlement itself. But there's also the linkage between the different land uses. You can only achieve that meaningful linkage or relationship through physical planning. If I'm going to work, I have to go maybe to the garden, I have to take goods to the market. How do I access those places? And that order can only come through physical planning. So that the markets have a direct relationship with where the goods or the products are coming from. The people's homes, settlements have connectivity with where they work. The education facilities, the health facilities, that relationship. Now, the road connectivity also matters. When you plan for all those land uses and their meaningful relationship, you will achieve what we call efficiency in terms of operations and economies of scale. So it becomes much easier. If you have a piece of land and you'd like to have agricultural products, you'd also like to have a factory, let's say packaging, processing and packaging. It's much easier when you plan for that piece of land to ensure that there's efficiency and also the benefits that should come. But also physical planning enables a good distribution and balance of functions, such that there is no imbalance in terms of over provision. Like most of our urban areas, you can see that they are so dense. Everything wants to be in the same place. Developers want to crowd places. If you also take an example of petrol stations, putting them everywhere is not the correct thing. There should be some form of order, distribution, which is well balanced and not over provision and under provision, or incompatibility, which means that the land uses cannot exist harmoniously. There is conflict. And a good example is usually industries in residential areas, that you'll have pollution, noise. The type of traffic that is generated for industries is different from the type of traffic in residential areas. So you will have road safety issues, that is conflict. And also having a primary school or a nursery school in the middle of the city, in the CBD, and kids have to walk home, you're going to have road safety issues. They will have conflict with traffic, vehicular traffic, but also the noise, the environment for them is not correct. Like also putting a primary school level, like on an expressway or a highway, is also not correct, or a market on a highway. So you get incompatibilities, which actually result in death sometimes, but also the quality of public space dies. Then this is obvious. Physical planning is very important for beautification. A planned environment looks more beautiful, whether rural or urban. When you see the setting of crops, let's go agriculture. If it's sunflower, if it's maize, if it's rice, if it's avocado, and you see that there is a section of each, it is zoned, there is zoning of it. It looks organized. It looks organized. And that also requires a meaningful working relationship between the different sectors. So physical planning is the only way that brings different sectors to ensure that they work together for proper development of a country. That's why the National Physical Development Plan is very, very key. And the land use planning is a factor that should never be ignored. Every inch of land contributes to development, so it should be planned. You see, land, everything is done on land for production. We might use technologies to enhance productivity. We might use different innovative approaches, but still land is the core of the whole story. So when you look at the land cover in Uganda, the 239 square kilometers, 239,000 square kilometers, and you look at the different distribution of that land, the water bodies. If you look at the bioregion, that the Nile, the Choga, that already takes space. Look at our hills, our mountains, that is space, which is taken. Then the conservation areas, the national parks, the forest cover, that is taken. When we focus on the agricultural sector, which is about productivity, it's about exports, it's about food for us as citizens, as a nation. The agricultural sector right now, it has 108,000 square kilometers. And out of this, only 64,000 square kilometers is arable. This means that only that portion is what is going to feed the projected 61 million people by 2040. That will not happen. To be able to feed the 61 million people by 2040, there needs to be like an increment of about 26% of the arable land that we have. That implies that mathematically we need about 80,000 square kilometers available by 2040 at least. And that leaves a deficit from the 64,000 which is available. We need to create at least 16,000 square kilometers extra to be able to feed the nation, not for export production, not for intensive commercialization, but for us to eat. And this may sound like it's scaring us, but you can see already some parts of the country, like in Karamoja, that we don't have enough food. And the excuse might be the weather, the climate change, but with us having this in mind, that the arable land is actually something we should worry about and plan in advance for how we shall mitigate it. It will help us a lot to ensure that we apply other approaches like the new technologies to ensure that we have high productivity of our land. So the land use balance sheet basically is breaking down what land we have, how much of it is being used for what are the national priorities for development in terms of land as a factor of production. If it's agriculture, if it's tourism, if it's industrialization and road transportation, connecting, regional connectivity, we must be aware that the land competition is likely to be unhealthy. Land use competition, which is unhealthy, is very dangerous because we need all those functions for the well-being, like I said earlier, but also for real development. And the higher the GDP, normally it is a sign that you planned. So the more planned our land is, the higher the GDP of our country, the higher it will be. But this will also depend on the prioritization of the different sectors. If it's agriculture sector, that is the backbone, that means we should worry about the 64,000 arable land, which is now also facing competition. The 64,000 square kilometers is facing competition, and the highest competition is coming from human settlements, because we are having the natural population growth, we are having healthier population, so the life expectancy is higher. Then we are also having immigration. We are a home of many people from our neighboring countries due to various reasons. And this human settlement factor will continue having a conflict with agricultural land. We are eating it up, and yet it's the human settlements, actually. It's the human beings that need jobs. This is the operation wealth creation. They need jobs, which jobs are easily availed or the opportunities are increased through planning for land and ensuring that the markets are available. They have their own space as well. Ensuring that the factories are in the right place and they are availing jobs. And that chain of production, ensuring that the citizens have employment. Then human capital development as a factor can also support that process of ensuring that the citizens appreciate that there is this dire need of enhancing agricultural productivity by managing our land use very well. Now, tourism and agriculture. Take a look at the national parks and the seasonal wetlands, for example. So those are three functions. Wetland cover is a function in its own. The parks, that's a function. And then you have agriculture. Those three can have a serious conflict. And yet we can utilize the seasonal wetlands to beef up the 64,000 square kilometers of the arable land by ensuring that we tap into that water. The water table is quite low there, so people will be able to get the technologies to work. So that conflict, the animals fighting with the farmers need the benefits of the animals through tourism, and that can only be managed by being aware of the land use balance sheet and the consequences of managing the distribution in the different areas. Actually, there is now the expanded land use balance sheet that was also prepared thanks to OWC, and that expanded land use balance sheet was able to break down the different functions in some regions like Acholi, Lango, and this gives a picture of how the nation should look at the available land. We have land, and at the same time, we don't have it.
The Chief Coordinator of Operation Wealth Creation, retired General Caleb Akandwanaho Salim Saleh, appreciated Amanda Ngabirano's land use balance sheet and has shared it to various Ugandans to plan for future land use.
Slide number 1 is composed of an advisory note from Amanda Ngabirano. She's asking us, do we understand the land use balance sheet in Uganda? Because land is the factor of production. Now Amanda is asking us, do we really understand what we need to do with the land in order to be able to feed people by 2040, when we shall be 60 million people? When you read what Dr. Amanda talks about, she says there is shortage, so we must do something. Then Vincent says we must do something, but we shouldn't touch land for conservation. Then these agencies which are holding land in trust on behalf of government are not maximizing the usage. And sometimes they are the ones who create conflicts on those lands.
I understand General Salim Saleh's worry as the Chief Coordinator of OWC, and also as a passionate person regarding the matters of land and how it should be fairly owned and utilized efficiently. The worry he has is the worry I have as a professional in this field of land use planning, that we have the land and we also don't have it at the same time. That we have the needs to prepare and develop our land. We have many things that we should do, but we are unable to do them. So there is the aspect of ownership and the history of land conflicts, but there is also the fact that the food will not be available if we don't reutilize our land appropriately, if we don't plan for it. And I mean, that is like the minimum. A nation should be able to plan to feed its citizens. So that worry that he has is valid, and it calls for first accepting it. And what OWC is doing now is very good, because they are breaking it down and trying to see what should be resolved. For example, the Land Use Management Center that was launched recently, that was a very good step, that we have things like truth-telling, education, appreciation of the history, and refocusing our needs, our land use needs to the future, selflessly, without being selfish individuals. So we need to look at public interest, and General Saleh is also focusing on the public interest. It should not be individualism. It should actually be everything we are doing about land should be for the public interest. And what has to be done, apart from applying the technologies, is to have the plans ready. Right now, every local government, every municipality, every local council, every city, every district should have a physical development plan. In fact, all the energies right now should go in that direction. And that plan should also have a detailed zoning plan. Like you see in Chirema, what happened. The fact that the piece of land had different ownership issues, history of conflict, but with a plan and negotiation, discussion with the citizens, and for them to see the value that will be added onto them, is a process that requires first have the vision. The visioning is very key. Then the land use balance sheet will make a lot of sense. But for now, we need to focus on the key sectors. Industrialization, because we are looking at employment creation. We need to look at the agriculture sector. And regional connectivity. There are so many aspects that we can benefit from our neighbors and vice versa. Then the human capital development, you can see the general also in his Chirema pilot, he was able to do the human capital development of the citizens of that area, for them to accept the discussion, to be part of the chain of production and to benefit. The place now looks like it's not in Uganda, in rural Uganda. So that also brings me to the aspect of, let's not look at land use planning as a city or urban activity. Both urban, rural, peri-urban should be organized for us to be able to utilize our land properly. This is more efficiently done through land use planning. His Excellency the President, I think, has also been having the same attitude of the public interest and ensuring that everybody has a fair ownership of land as a citizen of the country. And I can see how he has supported, for example, the factor of protecting wetlands.
Don't you have eyes to see a swamp? You yourself. But what is the consequence of going into the swamp? Desertification. Uganda will become a desert. Can we afford that? Because it affects the rains. 40% of our rain is because of the wetlands.
That is something that is very, very important, the conserving of nature, and the examples he uses are very, very nice from the Bible, indicating how God actually created them for what? The ecological functions. So for me, I see the role model in His Excellency the President towards land use planning, very, very meaningful, and we just need to break it down and assign the different entities on what each of them should be able to do. If it's tourism protection, we have to send it to the Ministry of Tourism. If it's land use, Ministry of Lands and NPA. So for him, I think the issue of resolving land, he has achieved quite a lot. And we need the support of the kingdoms, the land that is under the kingdomship. We need the support because, for example, if you look at the Greater Kampala metropolitan area, the history of planning, the Milo land, then the kingdom land, it's difficult. The Bibanja owners, it's very difficult to see Greater Kampala planned for in a meaningful way. But using the Chirema example again, all that is possible. But it will also take citizens who are selfless. For example, the interaction we've had so far with General Saleh, his vision is to make sure things are done fairly for the future of everyone. So that the individualism should not arise in the matters of land use. And that's a core thing that I've observed. And so all those activities should be supported and the progress is good. But I think the replication is very key and should come quickly. There are places in Karamoja that will require this kind of approach, places in the Midwest that will require those areas of Bulisa, Hoima, the Albertine region, will require all that. So we just need to harmonize the different factors through this approach. Land being grabbed is it's unfortunate, but it's also a symptom of lack of visioning as a public sector gap. Land use planning has never been attached closely with individuals or private developers. It's a public sector activity. And this means that the government should have control over the ownership of land, the formalization of the ownership, but then they should also have control of the usage. So the moment there is a gap in the public sector role of physical planning or land use planning, the individualism takes advantage of that gap. And this has to be addressed in a way that the grip by the public sector is regained. That people should feel, I own my land, but it has been formally acknowledged, registered. But when it comes to how it will be used, what function it will have, I am not the one to determine this. This message has to be sent to the general public, that the land use will be guided by the public sector, which is government. And that's why when there's a gap, the private individuals, both rich and poor, tend to start grabbing. Now, when there is no formalization also over a long period of time, and there is absenteeism, and land, like I mentioned, it's available and not. You drive through the country, you think, wow, this is empty, beautiful land, but you cannot utilize it. Even when you have a good project for the citizens in that area, you can't utilize it. So the owners there can be supported to appreciate that I own this land. But what is this land giving back to me? What am I getting from this land apart from it being there and I have no food, I have no money for my children's school fees, I cannot have the luxury to enjoy myself, but all I have is land, which is a factor of production. You see the issues of land conflict. There's a theory of blame of colonization or colonialism. There is a theory of blame of inheritance. There is also that of lack of formalization. Things passing through hands in a mutual way from one generation to another. But we shall not continue living in the past like this about this land conflict issue. So what I think should be done is exactly, part of it has been done, like that land management center that has been launched. Let us open up the truth about why we need the land, why land is key, why land is important, and why the conflicting land can keep us behind in terms of development. Conflicted land is unavailable land, and conflicted land is land that causes social tension, and this tension can be passed on from generation to generation. Any city, any local government, any geographical area without the social stability, without social cohesion, is vulnerable to any shocks that can happen. So land deconflicting is a very urgent issue which will require all of us, but mostly the citizens. Now about the land use maximization. Normally it is because of the densities, the urban densities, the numbers of people, and the competition between the land uses I talked about, the intensity of activities. When that happens, that means that the value of land in urban areas will automatically be higher than that in the rural areas. And because you need to also maximize on the costs vis-a-vis the revenue, the expenditure vis-a-vis the revenue, you need to maximize the space that you are going to use for business, for office, for production in the urban areas. That's why we have the high-rise development, the vertical growth or building is normally trying to utilize space efficiently or maximally, so that you can get the most out of it. You are not going to start setting up a two-roomed bungalow on Kampala Road with that value of land and vis-a-vis the costs of operation and what you need to do within the city. This is a natural land use development trend. And it comes also when you see the town councils growing, developing, you observe that the citizens are becoming aware that now I need to utilize my space efficiently. It's just like the zero grazing people who have like 6 cows, and it's just in one place, but they have so many liters of milk, they maximize through other means, other measures. So that is something that is naturally a land use planning thing. But again, because of the population increase, if we are planning for high income residents, the high income residents can afford spacious land and put their bungalows there. But the low income earners may not afford for them to have decent housing. Like I mentioned, human settlement is a very serious competing land use. So to have decent housing in a compact way, housing many people within a small piece of land, you will need to go high rise. So you have a form of studios, and everybody can afford. Our students, for example, now, when you ask them where they will stay, they don't know, because the human settlement factor has not taken care of that student type of decent housing in a compact way as they begin life. So human settlements are very important also, looking at the population growth again by 2040. So OWC, I see, has done very much and a lot, and there is still room, especially for land use planning, land use aspects, because wealth is closely linked to land, and land which is organized, planned for, will give us wealth, will make us wealthy. So the chief coordinator of OWC, General Salim Saleh, is doing a great job, and I'm so happy that he understood my land use balance sheet, because I had been explaining it, and he understood it very fast and took it over, went to HE, and also got an interpretation of it. So I think we should keep this conversation going, and most importantly, allow our citizens to learn process by process, as they said. Thank you very much.
Uganda's future land use is defined by rapid urbanization, agricultural expansion, and climate pressures reducing forests and wetlands. Built-up areas and commercial farming are projected to grow significantly.